and just make sure that Adagio runs out of energy before I do.
Oh, it looks like we're going to find out very quickly here as we are into the game. It's going to be the Koshka, Celeste, and Arden picked up over here for Team Snow. And across the board, it's going to be the Saw, Adagio, Finn combination that we saw in Game 1. So these guys felt good about it, and for good reason. But we are into Game 3, and this is going to be great.
Yeah, so this is an interesting composition right here. They have the double stun coming out from the Celeste and the Koshka. However, Kavalifar on that Saw, he's going to have a pretty easy time laying in Celeste. Celeste can't really deal with Saw too easily in lane. Like, sure, you'll be able to drop Heliogenesis, but Saw is just going to trade back against you with his basic attacks. And look at this right now. Abraxi's getting pushed out of lane already.
Yeah, I mean, it's freakishly scary when Saw gets that spin up that he can just stand there, and then you come in range at all, and he's getting 2 to 3 shots on you.
Right, and right now you see Mowgli and Palmatoro actually rotate up into lane. This is a little bit dangerous for the side of Team Snow. They're not going to be able to walk back through this bush to get to their turret, and their turret's already taking so much damage.
This is like literally the same movement that MediaPixel made in the last couple games. They like to come up, and well, especially in the game with Saw, you see that they wanted to buy him space for the first couple minutes. They do the zoning with Finn. He's got the play company, and if anyone comes in close, you look at it, he just spams it out, and no one can really commit onto the Saw even if they wanted to.
Yeah, so definitely one of the smart things that Snow is doing right there is, once again, they are dropping these scout traps. They are sending, look at me, into the enemy jungle to take those camps away. But this time, MediaPixel has also adapted. They have sent Adagio to the enemy backline to take those camps away. So right now, it's just Saw and Finn. They're farming away. They're happy with that. Kentusi and Araxi on Celeste and Arden, they're also farming away, which is good. But getting Finn and Saw to like the mid and late game is kind of fantastic.
Yeah, this is going to be great, and it's a 2v2 with just the junglers doing their own thing at this point, and it's each jungler kind of living in the other's jungle at this point, but at some point you see they're going to have to be moving back to their own.
Most certainly, Palmatoro does run over Scout Trap. Look at me, could catch him out right here, but it looks like he's not going to look for it. And right now, Kavalifar farming away. He's doing well for himself. He's actually leading in CS, I believe, 23-22 of Araxi. So very, very close by the laners. But looking at the difference in the jungle, there's still not much going on there. It's 11-14. These are pretty even across the board.
Araxi's got to be careful. There's 3 heroes down here from Media. They could have just slaughtered him if they knew he was there.
Just be very, very quiet.
Oh, it's a tasty treat, and all those noise-canceling headphones are pretty nice. But Raxi does make it out of there. The Spidey senses were not tingling for MediaPixel, but he'll have to be careful doing that in the future.
Yep, so it does look like some things are happening in lane.
Well, it looks like a little bit of an engagement, but no one really wanting to completely commit here. Once again, MediaPixel just trying to buy a little space around Saw, and as long as they're in front of him, he can just sit there and hammer on these guys.
Yeah, so this is fairly brilliant from MediaPixel. One of the great things about this composition is they don't even have to worry about winning early game, because they have the Finn. They can just pull people in at any given point in time, and Saw will just melt them.
Yeah, absolutely melt them. And at this point, you know, you've got no big spells to come out of Arden. The Gauntlet to cancel that counter aggression. And he's got to be very careful. Look, Saw just hammering on this turret. Finn frontlining for the team. At any point, Palmataro can just heal them or buff them up. And Kentisa quite low there. The B coming out of Saw. He's got the full spin up. At this point, one of the things you always want to have your spin up when you're close to this turret, because if you have to run too far, that will drop off, and then you're going to take the time to build that back up. Look at me, jumps in from the east side onto Palmatoro, maybe looking to find that pick, but with Kavalifar there to back him up, Palmatoro just will retreat and get out of that. Well, Pouncy Fun gave Olivar with a twirly death. See, Saw, he's not mobile at that point. They lock onto him, and that's first blood.
Yeah, so that was a little bit over-aggressive coming out from MediaPixel. They didn't really have to go for that kill. He could have used his Roy and just walked out of it. But instead, he tried to go for the kill on Araxi. He didn't realize that Araxi had a potion ticking, and Araxi just barely survived that. And that allowed, look at me, he just immediately jumped onto Kavalifar. Kavalifar was taken down, and it's still not a huge gold lead for Snow. But honestly, I think the game is still fairly even at this point.
Yeah, all things considered, the game is pretty even at this point. Are there any big item builds that you think we should be looking for in this game?
Right now, there's nothing in particular. I really expect Araxi to just be building pure damage. They have to explode Kavalifar as soon as possible. And once again, Kavalifar, he is going for that early Serpent Smash, which is just brilliant, honestly. All he has to do is stay alive. If he stays alive, he will pump out damage like no other. Palmatoro can buff him with the Raging of Wrath, and he will just be unleashing hell on the members of Team Snow. However, Araxi, if he gets a Frostburn, if he gets Shattered Glass and the Broken Myth, his damage output will be huge too.
Yeah, one of the things to think about, I guess, with Kay Volafar is, he wants to just sit there and be that kind of turret-type player. That means the stuns are going to be pretty easy to land from Araxi. And Araxi will heliogenesis there, but Saw does clean up that gold mine first. Look at me! We'll jump forward, but that's a pretty aggressive play. Palmatoro cleans that up, and now Kentisik is forced out to the east, Araxi to the west. Kentisik will be the target here that they focus down, and yeah, you guys clean him up, One more shot.
Oh.
2 more shots and they get him. So now 2-1 in favor of Media Pixel here as we approach the 6-minute mark of this game.
Yeah, that is so well played from Kavalfar. He saw the Koshka jump in. He saw Yummy Cat and Frenzy come out and instantly reflex blocked it. He just turned on Koshka, look at me, jumped in and just instantly exploded. And Kavalfar, he's level 5 right now, but it looks like he's just at such a high level.
Yeah, Kay Volafar, he's an excellent player, and he's playing this hero that we don't get to see all the time, but for good reasons, and in his own way, is an extremely strong hero.
Most certainly. And right now, Kavalfar, reflex block, Serpent's Nest. He doesn't even need boots. He doesn't care about boots. He just wants more damage, more defensive stats, and it doesn't matter if he can't move, because the enemy has to come to him, or Finn will pull him to him. It doesn't even matter for him.
Yeah, I mean, he can run at them, but like you said, the beautiful thing about this composition is that you can get a force to cord at any point just to pull them right back to the Saw, and hopefully at that point Saw already has full spin up.
Right, and right now the main thing in this game, when Mowgli hits 6, I'm expecting Media Pixel just push. They should be able to take that second turret down fairly easily, and it's really up to Snow to figure out a counter to this. I honestly don't know what they should be doing at this point, but they need to figure out something fast.
Yeah, well, Mowgli's got that 6 that you were just talking about. I'm not sure if he wants to let it loose just for the Arden, but he was landing those 3-man hooks last game, and I think he'll be doing the same thing this game if given the chance.
Most certainly, and one of the big things right here is that Media Pixel, along with just Saw having a Serpent's Nest, they do have the Adagio.
Oh, an aggressive jump by Look at Me here. Maybe just testing the waters. The force to cord will be there. The burst, just like we saw before. And Look at Me will go down. I mean, that was a very aggressive play. I'm not sure if that was what they really wanted.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the fight they were looking for, but that was the fight they got, and it totally worked out for them for this Media Pixel. Snow, they jumped in. They were looking to close out on Kavalfar, but it just didn't work. He was sufficiently tanky. He has a Serpent's Nest. The first chunk of damage that he does will just have such incredibly high lifesteal. And on top of the Adagio's heal, there's just not too much they can do to him at this point. They need to figure out, they need to be able to steal away Media Pixel's jungle while still defending their turret. It's going to be so hard for Team Snow at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be surely tough. One of the things about the Koshka, she likes to jump in like that all the time we see her, and she's a pretty mobile hero. But you just can't do that against this composition.
Most certainly. And right now, Arden, he does have the Crucible. It's going to help against Palmatoro. I'm very happy they did pick up the early Crucible. However, it's still going to be tough dealing with Mowgli. Mowgli is constantly landing CC. He has the Quill. He has the Polite Company. He has the Force Accord. And if Mowgli lands the Force Accord on anyone, it's the same thing as last game, or game number 1. They are just going to die.
Well, Mowgli, he is having fun. Polite Company will pull Kent back just a little bit, but nobody going to be engaged on just yet. He does have Force Accord ready at any point. If they do find a nice setup for that, he'll probably let it loose. Look at Me, seen by that scout trap, and will move deeper into the enemy jungle. Gonna have to be careful here.
Yeah, he'll be just fine. I don't really think Media Pixel wants to spend the time chasing him down. However, one big thing is, if he's not there to defend his turret, that turret's going to drop.
Yeah, it surely will. And also his allies really are going to have to be careful, knowing that it's going to take a long time for him to get there if any engagement happens.
Yep. And right now, Raxi, he's only level 7, so he doesn't even have that level 8 that Celeste so desperately needs for that level 5 heliogenesis. The overdrive on it is so important. The extra range just makes her such a formidable foe. But right now, she just doesn't have it.
Yeah, well, she's going to just keep working. Team Snow really just need to buy a little bit more time for themselves to come online, have a good team fight, and maybe things go their way a little bit. Right now, we're sitting on about a 2K gold lead going the way of Media Pixel. Media Pixel in every game of the series so far has started with a gold lead.
That is fairly true. Like the first game, they were behind for a brief moment, but once they took the first gold mine, it was just a snowball from there. And right now, they are doing the exact same thing. And as they told me when we were doing interviews with them, once they take a gold lead, they are not willing to let it go. They do not let it go. And right now, you can see exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I like their style of play. These guys, they were putting it all together right now. And, I think our analysts talked about this could be a preview of a final matchup, potentially. because these are two very talented teams, and a lot of the other opponents in this tournament have both spoken about these teams when interviewed. So, you know, I'm excited that we have got to see such a cool matchup, and going to Game 3, this has just been great so far.
Yeah, one of the things I really love about MediaPixel is they use... Oh,
forced the cord. They got two. Polite Company's there. The Verse will come out. Araxi eating a lot of damage. He will be healed up. The Gauntlet is going down defensively, and now they look to turn on to Palmatoro, but that's just not quite enough. There's a Saw there. You can't commit into that. He's spun up.
All right, Celeste is so incredibly low right now. She was saved by a fountain. She was saved by a potion. She was almost going down, but she just barely survived. And right now, this turret is not going to be the same.
There's nothing they can do. Well, like at that point, once you're forced back to go heal, the turret's just going to go down. That's a given.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I want to see out of this MediaPixel composition. They have the force cord. Every single time it comes up, they pull someone in. It doesn't matter who. They get one kill. They start pushing. They get no kills. They push anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you can get the kills. It buys you a little bit of time to do the pushing, like you said, or you just buy a little bit of space. So either way, MediaPixel happy with this. You know, this is actually another game where we're 11 minutes into it, and we only have 4 kills on the board. So not a lot of kills, but a lot of action.
Yeah, and another thing MediaPixel did say, they are very objective focused. As we look for a fight.
Look at Mowgli just frontlining. He has no fear without a dodge behind him. Forced to cord onto Araxi. Will land. Araxi will speed boost out of there. Turn around. Look at me. Just maybe trying to buy a little bit of space, and then he will turn and tuck tail and run. It looks like Arden gives him a little bit of that boost to get out of there. These guys are going to have to be careful here. Araxi, I mean, I thought Araxi was going to try and get out, but he just can't do it at that point and gets melted.
Yeah, so Araxi right there was trying to go for the kill on Cavalifar, but just wasn't enough. Holy cow, so much damage coming out. This turret's going to certainly drop, and MediaPixel just off to another dominant lead with this Saw composition. Yeah,
I think, you know, going into with this composition that they pulled out in Game 1, it wasn't going to be given to them, of course, if Snow had the option, right? But you go into Game 3 and they can't ban anything out, and so of course MediaPixel take it. And so it's just great to see that this composition's working out for them, and I like to see the innovation.
Yeah, it's one of the brilliant things about not having like the third pick blind pick, because there's so many mind games going into it. They could be picking this composition, they could be picking something else, and if you pick something that might directly counter this composition, what if they didn't pick it? You're digging yourself into a hole.
Yeah, it's the mind games at this point. They're incredibly talented players. You got talented drafters as well, and you know it gets so complex at these levels. But hey, these guys are the pros.
Yep. So one thing I would like to see out of Snow is more Atlas pauldrons. Kentusi, he has the Atlas pauldron, he has the Crucible. Look at me, he should probably be building one. Like having that ability to slow Saw's attack speed is just so incredibly important in these fights.
Yeah, well, if they can manage to do that, they might buy themselves a little bit more time. Looks like both of these teams kind of grouping up towards the middle of the map here. Araxi, careful. Polite Company will pull 2 back in. Kent's there. A little blood for blood. And Yummy Catnip Frenzy puts Look at Me deep into this fight, and he's going to go down. He's trying to man mode the Saw. Solar Storm comes out, but not really that much damage. Kent Tizik's going to go down off to the east as well. That leaves Araxi as the last man standing for Snow, and he's just going to have to run.
Yeah, this is rough for Team Snow, honestly. Like, they looked for that fight. They tried jumping on Cavalifar every time, but he's just so perfect with those reflex blocks. Every single Koshka ultimate, every single Yummy Catnip Frenzy has been blocked. Cavalifar, just unkillable at this point.
Yeah, well, we got to give him props for that, and we respect him as a player for this reason.
Well, certainly another main mine has been taken over by MediaPixel eSport, and they are about to get another gold payout. So the gold lead about to hit 9,000 gold. 14 minutes in, this is a repeat of Game 1.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. I mean, they just blew this game wide open. Now 6 kills as we are 14 minutes into the game. They've got the gold lead. I don't really know how Team Snow really put together a comeback against this, unless they just have, they catch MediaPixel out of position, they get a kill, and then into an objective off of it, but maybe that's not going to happen here. As they have the full engagement, look at the massive damage coming out. We'll lose Celeste right off the bat. The force to cord through. Oh my goodness, Mowgli is a monster on Finn. And Kent, the last man standing, will be chunked down by Palmatoro. And that's the ace here for MediaPixel as these guys look to move into the base.
Yeah, and I think this is pretty over. MediaPixel, they have a spun of Saw sitting at your turret, and Celeste is the only one up. Araxi has spawned, but I don't think he can really do anything at this point. They just
Yeah.
eat the Solar Storm. They don't even care at this point. The Vayne goes down 15 minutes and 2 seconds into the game. Wow, just an incredible performance coming out